almost up.
Oh, perfect.
So real quick, what's up, guys? It's Mike. It's the CryptoTraveler. What did we say my slogan should be? So
the
like
last one was pretty good. It was
owning.
Own nothing, do everything.
Yeah,
or do everything, own nothing.
Yeah, one of those.
We'll have to figure out which way.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm just recently quit my job and kind of exploring my dream of to basically minimize my life to, as the minimum possessions as possible, and then travel around the world. And the idea is that, it's kind of like that whole,
Damn, I hate to cut you off, but that's another one. Minimize life to maximize
happiness.
Freedom or happiness.
Sure, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea, is that that Tyler Durden, Fight Club idea where the things you own end up owning you. And so now we're on the cusp of we're entering peak information age where we have the internet now, and now we also have money that's basically turned into information. And so the idea is that you can go and live anywhere in the world, right? We're getting into this sharing economy. There's Uber, there's Airbnb, now we have cryptocurrency, and it's just the idea of being able to be free and travel the world and live the lifestyle you want to live, right? And still being comfortable in a sense.
Absolutely.
So going to Colombia for the Bitcoin conference, Latin American Bitcoin conference, it was cool because I could use Uber to go everywhere. And it was, basically safe and safer than taking the actual taxis. So it's the idea that technology is opening up avenues that weren't there before, The fact that you can go to a country you've never been to and travel travel around like you're from there, it allows you to explore a lot of avenues that just weren't there before.
Yeah.
So that's the idea that I'm gonna take. My girlfriend and I, we're gonna go travel on the road, and we're gonna connect with people and kind of also gauge how cryptocurrencies are affecting people's lives. Because particularly here in the West, a lot of people don't understand the need for cryptocurrencies. But when I was in the Latin American Bitcoin conference, there's a lot of Venezuelans out there who are that's their, that's the only thing they can cling on to because the government's corrupt, right?
It's their safe haven.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't rely on the government. They can't rely on the banks. They can't rely on their neighbor.
Exactly, that too, because it's like the whole communist, idea where, you get rewarded by supporting this centralized system, right? So even their neighbors are incentivized to snitch. If you have more cans of tuna than you're supposed to have, you can be in some serious trouble.
Absolutely.
Right? And then your neighbor reaps those rewards, but then the system itself, the communist system, it that's how it creates this kind of open air prison system where you can't even trust your neighbors or your loved ones or anything like that. So, but yeah, they were over there in the Latin American Bitcoin conference, and they were, and it was just cool to see all the excitement over there. It's really, really taking hold. And Bitcoin, this is kind of what I expected to happen in 2013, 2014.
Albeit you were in a conference, would you say there was more excitement over there than other conferences you've been to? Or about
Fuck
the
yeah.
same? Yeah, right.
Also, it helps that Bitcoin was at 12,000 during the conference, right? So
True.
there's a lot of euphoria. A lot of people were happy. They had a huge party, but it's just also you're in Latin America.
Yeah.
So to me, I've been to the
different cultures.
Yeah. So the conferences here in the States, very business oriented, very corporate esque, but over there it's Latin, so it's more open, it's more warm, more
inviting, warm,
yeah, friendly.
Yeah.
Plus they got the music, so people were dancing on stage. And the Miami Bitcoin conference over here, there's Cleveland there, and that's as douchey as you can get, right? And so
I thought about that.
Yeah. And so over there it was more people, they invited people on the stage to dance with them and have a good time, and it was just it's Latin America, that's how it is. So, but in general, yeah, it's exciting as fuck. Awesome, man. People were, it's weird because you're in a room and you don't know who's who, man, right? Somebody could be holding $1 billion worth of Bitcoin sitting next to you. So, and you know that they were billionaires there. Like the basically the net worth of that building was holding was, I mean, in the billions. And so you would never know it though. You're talking to people like Brock Pierce, who got into Bitcoin way early, and you're talking to people like, Trace Mayer, super early, bought Bitcoin when it was 25 cents and has been, and not only that, but understood the value of it very early on. And it was like, he's a huge resource. So if anybody's interested in Bitcoin, I suggest you go check out Trace Mayer, because he's a huge resource for understanding just the magnitude and impact that this technology could have, right? Because there's a lot of people that come into Bitcoin and they looking for a quick flip, like they're looking to make a quick buck off the gains because Bitcoin's been rising so fast. But the idea here is that, Bitcoin becomes this underpinning, like underpins society and our economies, right? It's like the backbone structure. Maybe we don't even see it in the background happening,
How do you see that affecting Bitcoin? I mean, somebody argued with me last week that they don't want those people coming in, but don't you just want anybody coming in?
Yeah, so Naval, this, VC in Silicon Valley, right? Naval Ravikant, I think his name is, and so I follow him on Twitter, but he basically said that Bitcoin is a get-rich-quick scheme is a revolution disguised as a get-rich-quick scheme. All right, something to that nature. I'm paraphrasing and probably misquoting, but it is. So it's like a positive feedback loop. Like people come into the space because maybe they're initially attracted by the gains, right? And they drive the price higher by buying. And because of Bitcoin's limited supply, when there's an increase in demand, it shoots the price up. So then the high price attracts media attention and this and that. So people start looking into Bitcoin. And I would say that out of the people that look into Bitcoin, they start to discover its genius, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, Bitcoin is something that is probably going to change the world, and maybe it's a good idea if I go and get some, right? So then they start buying Bitcoin, and these people now understand the fundamental aspects of Bitcoin, so they become holders. And they understand that the technology is, for one, very useful, for two, like it's rare. Bitcoins are rare. Like there's only 21 million that'll ever be created. I don't know how many millionaires and billionaires in the world. If everyone wanted one, they wouldn't be able to get a whole Bitcoin. And right now there's just 21, right now they're only $16,000 or $17,000, whatever the price is right now. So let me go ahead and take 1% of my net worth or my earnings or whatever and put it into Bitcoin. But because they believe that the technology is useful, and they believe that it's scarce, and they believe that, or not even that they believe, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
So they become holders of the Bitcoin, and holding Bitcoin is what gives you value. Taking it out the supply and holding it is what gives it value ultimately. And you have a demand the demand side that can't be increased. It's not like they can print more Bitcoin out of thin air, right? So the laws of supply and demand drives the price higher, creates more media attention. Again, it's a positive feedback loop. People then who have ignored Bitcoin for so long take a look at it, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, fuck, this is genius. I gotta get some. So it's just like a constant cycle. And I believe like we've penetrated like the subconscious of like the masses, right? Like I don't think there's anywhere you can go in the world at this point and people don't know what Bitcoin was. And like just 3-4 years ago, you talk to anyone about Bitcoin and they'd either laugh at you or dismiss you or call you crazy or just say that's a Ponzi scheme or fool's gold or whatever it is, right? So now I think we've definitely penetrated the subconscious and masses, and like there's a big number of people out there, more people looking into what Bitcoin actually is than there are actual Bitcoins.
Yeah, it's definitely planted the idea in many people's head. I mean, there's still some that still think it's a Ponzi scheme or get rich quick scheme, but it's definitely planted the idea, and I would say it's most likely a household name now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, bro.
It's come very far.
So that, right? The whole idea that now it's a household name, and even if people start transacting or saving in Bitcoin, or like, okay, so let's just say you work and you $500 a week that you save, or $500 a month, whatever, $100 a week. Well, what if people just take a small percentage of that and start buying Bitcoin, right? And holding it and being like, yeah, whatever, it's $20. I can go to a club and buy myself a drink.
Or I can put this into my savings account.
Yeah, my savings account. Into this speculative technology that just seems to be going up in value. So maybe my $20 next week just turns into $40 or something like that, right? Even if that's their motive, that still takes Bitcoin out of the supply line. And this is what I recommend to anybody at these prices, unless you have a lot of capital to invest or to take risk with, just buy a small amount whenever you can. Consider it like a drink or whatever. Use it as your savings account. And that way you're not hurt whether it goes up or down, but you also secure yourself like a spot on the spaceship that's about to fucking take off to the moon, or wherever. Like it's about to fucking, it's about to blast off, man. And like this 1,000 to 17,000, like I think that's the initial burst, but I mean Wall Street's about to come in, right? There's that Novacrats guy, keeps on talking about Bitcoin, and he's saying it's going to go to 40,000. I just think that I don't see anything stopping Bitcoin. Because it's penetrated like the subconscious of the mass, it's going to take a major like catastrophe, either an exchange going down or a lot of people being hurt or something like that, because that's what happened in 2000.
Are we still comparing this to the internet bubble, or are we past that?
I don't think so. So, like the internet bubble, remember it was U.S. centric, right? Only U.S. companies.
Okay.
And U.S. markets. This is a worldwide bubble. And so Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will be a bubble, but I don't even think we're there yet. Like I think it's just something that's severely undervalued, and more and more people are realizing just how undervalued it is. And so they're taking a stake in a position in Bitcoin, because they're like, wow, this thing, if it actually achieves what it's supposed to achieve, which it looks like it, I mean, it keeps on taking all these hits and all these licks. It's like the honey badger, right? Yeah. He don't give a fuck. He just keeps on going, keeps on trucking, Oh, I got bit by a poisonous cobra. Oh, well, motherfucker, let me take a quick nap and then go back to like eating you, Absolutely. And that's what Bitcoin is. It's just eating and eating and eating. And so the more people that take a look at Bitcoin, become true believers, become holders, the more stronger it gets, the more valuable it becomes. So, like,
and I feel like the more that happens, I guess it increases the people wanting to come in, because they'll say, "Wow, I knew it. I told you not to invest in that. It took a huge hit," and then somehow, it not only
like it rebounds.
Not only does it rebound, it comes back stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And the same people that were like, I should have, or I told you so, were like, damn, I should have, jumped in when I had the time.
But now they don't want to miss the bandwagon, exactly. So they FOMO buy in.
Yeah.
But like I said, those are shaky hands, and they need to be weeded out every once in a while. So that's okay, because it's like, it's like a forest fire or something like that. Like sometimes you need to clear the brush so new True. People can come in and hold. So for me, it's just an inevitable thing. The only thing I see happening, and this is why I say like to people, get your coins off of Coinbase, because like this is going to be, Bitcoin is gravity, right? It's like a black hole, and it's just gonna suck in all the fiat that's been basically diluted, right? Like it's like your money, our currency that we use, and that we use as a store of value because people do save in dollars, and that we transact with, well, that's kind of been diluted over the years. Like $100 in 1970 doesn't get you as much as what $100 today would, right? So it's been basically inflated, and what's going to happen is all these inflated dollars are going to, and currencies around the world, it's not just the US dollar, are going to be sucked up by this Bitcoin black hole. It's called a speculative attack, and basically what happens is that the government is going to have to stop this like fiat bleed, like it's like hemorrhaging, right? And so, by the way, a lot of these metaphors and analogies I get from the Nakamoto Institute. Like I suggest, like once you take the like foundational information that you have of Bitcoin, you start going a little bit deeper and like check out the Nakamoto Institute and read those, because you will understand just how fast and violent this like will happen. It's like Bitcoin's a black hole. It's going to suck in all these worthless fiat pieces of paper, and they're going to have to stop the bleed somehow. So I can imagine the president, right? Because we've already had Jamie Dimon, right, talking about how the government is going to have to step in and stop this. And we've already had Joseph Stiglitz, right, the economist, who said, well, I don't understand why governments haven't made this illegal, right?
We've had countries ban them.
Yeah, so China's tried banning it several times. And this isn't with, like, you know, my idea of an executive order in as a matter of national security isn't like far off the wall for me to you know, think is within the realm of possibilities, right? So they will put a pause to the buying, and I think it's possible that people might even have their Bitcoin confiscated. And so if you don't own the private keys, or if you don't hold the private keys and secure them properly, you don't own those Bitcoin. So Coinbase is the custodian of those Bitcoin. And remember, Bitcoin's properties, there's only 21 million that will ever be created. So if you lose those Bitcoins, you'll probably be compensated or something, right? But in dollar bills, right? And so, but you'll never see those Bitcoin again. And so, like, by the time you receive those dollar bills, they're going to be significantly less in Bitcoin terms. So I'll give you an example. Mt. Gox, I think that they're just about to finalize the bankruptcy proceedings, and the people that lost their Bitcoin at Mt. Gox, they're going to settle with them, but they're going to settle for a certain percentage that they had. So if they had 100 Bitcoins, they'll say, oh, okay, we'll settle, and you get 20 Bitcoins worth of fiat pieces of paper, and it's going to be at the price that the Bitcoins were.
Oh my God.
When the whole thing went down. So like we're talking about $250 Bitcoin. So what I'm trying to say is that if you got your Bitcoin on exchange and they're gone, even though you're going to get compensated with dollars, it's not going to get you the Bitcoin that, you know, the amount of Bitcoin you originally had. It's actually going to be probably significantly less. So get your fucking coins off Coinbase, because I'm just saying, I can see something where the government puts a stop to this, shuts down Coinbase at least temporarily, but finds a way to confiscate people's Bitcoin, you know, as a matter of national security. And in 1933, like, or in the 1930s, I don't know exactly which year, but President Roosevelt did this as a matter of national security. He signed in like Executive Order 6102 or something like that, which confiscated basically
gold, right?
Gold, yeah. And he said it was because it was hindering the productive capacity of the United States because people were hoarding it. But what the truth was is that he printed, or the Federal Reserve had basically printed a bunch of paper money, or, you know, digital money or whatever it was, issued a whole bunch of loans, and, you know, there was the gold that was backing all of that, right, wasn't enough for the amount of money they printed, right? So yeah, and it just that's what caused the collapse. That's what caused and prolonged the Great Depression. It wasn't the fact that people were hoarding gold. They were just trying to hold on to whatever savings they had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I come to you with a bunch of papers that I just printed out of nowhere, do you gonna want those papers? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I can talk on and on about this. I'm just saying the main thing is get your fucking coins off Coinbase. Your private keys are your Bitcoins. If you don't hold your private keys, they're subject to, you know, and then it's not only that, the fact that the government could shut them down, that's like kind of worst case scenario, but I still think it's a possibility.
Let me ask you, wouldn't you say we're beyond that point if futures are coming out and maybe...
I think that you know, like the government isn't like this like monolithic giant creature. Like there's many parts to it, and some parts act without the head knowing, you know? And so like futures and the so the CME and the CBOE and all that coming out and, you know, offering trading, and they are offering trading, like they rushed that, you know? Okay. So I'm just saying, even though that's happening, I don't see that stopping like an executive order, because they could say something like, okay, we're gonna allow futures trading and all that, because that's still for sophisticated individuals. Like Coinbase, like particularly services retail, right? And they're moving now into like custodians for like, you know, hedge funds and stuff like that, but they particularly service retail investors like you and I, who are buying $1,000 or $100 or $50 or $5. of cryptocurrency. That's the people that think. So I can see the government saying, hey, wait, we got to stop this. You know what? If you want to participate in cryptocurrency, you got to have a special license. Or if you want to, if you want to, this is a risky asset, okay? And if you want to participate with this, you got to be an accredited investor, which is one of these, like, basically you got to be certified to have over $1 million of capital and this and that. Because because this is an emerging, risky asset class, we can't have normal people experiencing the gains and the rewards of their risks, right? Like, you got to now, you got to go through the government, get a special license, and of course, this is just like a roadblock to stop the bleeding, So I don't think we're past it. I think that it's a possibility, and that's why I say get your coins off Coinbase and then let this thing evolve. I think all this stuff is going to be messy. I think there's going to be people out there, like governments out there, who try to stop it. I think there's going to be all types of weird stuff that we've never even seen before happen, because this is like, Bitcoin is like it's like an organism that's growing and growing, right? And it's like, how do you stop this decentralized organism? And, do we cut off this head and we cut off that arm and we cut off this leg, but it keeps on growing and growing. So, like I said, there's going to be battles and wars and stuff like that, but ultimately, like, I don't think there's anything stopping this. But go ahead.
And how would you explain to someone who wants to be a holder, who believes in Bitcoin, and is afraid of that in particular?
Well,
but has not yet invested. Just want to make it clear that's a possibility, right? But you have to take that into account when judging your risk tolerance, all right? What? Buddha.
Yeah, it smells like some weed over around here, which smells great. Yeah. All right, so all right, you gotta know for yourself what your risk tolerance is. So if you think that's a high possibility, then you don't invest that much. You buy what you can afford to lose, kind of thing. But if you think that's a low possibility and you see the future for cryptocurrencies being a worldwide phenomenon, that even if it gets stopped in the United States, it's still going to continue. Like, Bitcoin exists, there's no stopping that, right? The cat is out of the bag. Like, there's no putting it back in, right? So Saudi Arabia, Hong Kong, China, all these countries, for a lot of American citizens, they're US-centric. Their view of the world comes through Fox News or CNBC or something like that. But there's a whole world out there, right, who doesn't give a fuck about the US. They're living their lives. So if you see that, right, and you say, hey, even if it's in the United States, even if President Trump signs an executive order shutting down Coinbase, I still believe that this thing's going to go on or whatever. So you up your risk tolerance, and now you start investing more,
Absolutely.
So, I've heard anywhere people say from 1% to 10% of your, of either your savings or your net worth to put it into cryptocurrency, because this is inevitable. Like, you've seen the freedom that, that using this technology allows, right? Like, when I can pay somebody in India instantly with nobody in between, that's pretty amazing. When I can save my money in a censorship-resistant, protocol, and where the rules can't be changed or altered by any one person and takes a consensus, well, like, that's a powerful thing, So I you know what? I actually forgot what the fuck I was talking about. Anyways, bro. What do you think? You want to wrap this shit up?
I like it. It's good.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
So all right, real quick. The plan is for me and my girlfriend to go travel the world, meet and talk to interesting people. Hopefully I can see this guy, my friend Javi. Hopefully he'll come join us in some places. But, cryptocurrency is going to allow for a lot of creative expressions over the years. Like, the creative capacity that has been bogged down by the debt and monetary system of just countries around the world, like central banks. They've been basically robbing and stealing all the productive capacity, right? And stealing that from us, and we've been living this basically perpetual rat race. And cryptocurrency is allowing people to break free, and then with that, it's going to allow for a lot of like I said, creative outlets. People who now have the financial freedom to explore the things that they're really interested in and good at, versus working a fucking job which they hate going to, which is a drag on them, which kills their their third eye. Like, it just, like, eats at their soul. And so what I'm hoping and what I'm wishing is that, I have no idea where this is all going to go, but it's going to be very interesting. And I think, like, I'm a humanitarian in the sense that I believe humans are essentially good, and the amount of, like, just creativeness and ingenuity that's going to come out of all this is going to be great. I mean, can you imagine, like, you like...
Yeah, absolutely. I could see it even evolving even more.
Yeah.
Like you're just getting started.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's coming for you. So,
yeah, exactly.
To say that you're already financially free, I can see that evolving even more.
Yeah.
And discovering more things about life.
For sure.
Because of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, but you too, right? So it could, and the fact that you can generate revenue now from multiple streams, you can do a podcast, and people like what you're saying, they'll have you on your, you can have a subscribership and stuff like that. And cryptocurrency, even though there's Patreon right now and other little, like, you can make money off of ads from YouTube and stuff like that, but there's still control. There's still the mechanism of control. Like, YouTube has been shutting down people's accounts, and Patreon has been also shutting down people's, like, monetary lifeline. So cryptocurrency is going to give an avenue for, to skip all of that, to skip the middleman, to go directly to the content producer. And so with that, imagine getting paid $1 from 1,000 people, right, around the world. Like, even if you like fucking the weirdest shit, like, I don't know, pink polka dot dogs, that are under 10 pounds. That's my thing. And so, like, you're gonna find 1,000 people that like the same fucking thing around the world, right? And what if they all contribute $1 to you? They're like, you know what, I like that guy. He's fucking funny as shit or whatever. And they all contribute $1 to you, like, every week, $1. So $4 a month. You're making $4,000 a month. You can go anywhere in the world and work, So I'm just saying, it's gonna open up, like, we don't even know. This is an exciting time, and it's like, we'll see, but I have a feeling it's going to be like another Renaissance era for, like, human beings. I hope so. We'll see. There's other people that think otherwise, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I like to be more optimistic.
I like the fact that it's global, because, like how you said, it's not just a renaissance for a particular population, or it's everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, everyone that gives it a chance.
Sure,
so.
like, even so, like, a lot of the geniuses and these people, like, it doesn't matter if you're born in now, like, before it mattered where you were born. Like, if you were born in these countries that were ravaged by war or whatever, like Rwanda or some places in Africa, and even places in South America or Nicaragua or whatever, right? And you're born there, you don't have a lot of opportunity. There's not a lot of resources for you to tap into and really kind of hone in on your creative capacity, right? With the tools that are available, because there are no tools available. But now, I think these tools are going to be available to anyone in the world. So even if you're in Rwanda, or even if you're in Kenya, or even if you're in wherever, China or whatever.
Zimbabwe.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you're going to be able to fucking do things, and that's, for me, I think that's remarkable. Now we're really going to see, like, people be elevated based on merit, like, there's all these tools coming out. I can keep on going, man, but let me just finish this. There's all these tools coming out, like, basically, Shapeshift is creating this thing where you can create a portfolio, right? And it's all done through smart contracts and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter who you are, and there's a leaderboard, and there's gonna be, like, they're gonna try to gamify it, like, kind of like, create a leaderboard, and so there's, like, all types of other incentives, and so then people can follow you. Also, they can follow all the trades you make, and it's automatic. So you just deposit money, and you set up your account, and then you follow, and so
idea.
It doesn't matter. You could be a kid from Kenya, or wherever, right? Like Africa or China or the United States, right? And you could be a 13-year-old in your mom's bedroom creating a hedge fund, and people are following you, and you're getting paid, because if you're making money, they're making money, and off of the money they make, I think there's a percentage that get paid to you, because you're the one that initiated all the trades, and you're the one that they're following, right? So not only are you making money, but you're making money off of other people making money. So my point is that the opportunities that are coming are going to be endless and boundless. And so with that, I'm going to close. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool,
Awesome.
man. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you like it, hit the thumbs up and share it, and subscribe, right? And then hopefully I'll be doing more things all over the world with all different types of interesting people. So thanks for coming by. Peace.
Peace out.